We are actually working on, this is my husband's truck. He finally purchased a work truck for his HVAC company, and so this one has been sitting in the garage for just kind of a couple months, waiting for me to have free time to finally get around to ceramic coating it. And it's January 2nd. We're kind of hitting the ground running. I'm working on a big black truck. Now, I know personally this paint is a pain in the butt to work on. It's very finicky, and there's not much to it. There's actually some spots on this truck that I can see the primer. There's no color on it whatsoever. I've reached this point in dealing with this truck that I am not going to worry about swirls and scratches. For those of you that really care about swirls and scratches, never get a black truck. It's awful. I've actually told my husband that I would pay money to have it repainted white, or to pay more money for us to trade it in and get a white truck or a silver truck or any color, because it's a nightmare as a detailer to own a black truck. And so I'm kind of having to just wish away or stop worrying about swirls and scratches, because it is what it is. I've got 2 kids. They can't open a door, close a door without touching it in the middle of the door. There's scratches all over the side door. So I'm not worried about future scratches. At this point, I just want to clean it, get it prepped. As always, we're going to start off with our tires, wheels, and wheel wells. We're going to be using 2 of my favorites, Shine Supply Wise Guy for our tires and wheels, and Superior Products Dark Fury for our wheel wells. And while we have our Dark Fury out, we're going to use it to touchless clean the engine bay. And finally, we'll touchless clean our door jambs. Quick and easy. When it comes to cleaning wheel wells on trucks, you can have painted wheel wells like this, which they're very easy to clean with Dark Fury, a pressure washer, and your Go Easy detail brush. But the same technique can apply for carpeted wheel wells. Some people really struggle with getting these deep cleaned. A pressure washer is going to be your best friend in this scenario. If you're trying to clean it with a standard hose, you're not going to have as much force as you need to really blast all of that heavy dirt and debris that can really get caked on the carpeted wheel wells. So having the Dark Fury, I find, helps release some of the dirt from the carpeted surface. And then using the Go Easy detail brush, it's very quick and effortless to be able to deep clean carpeted wheel wells. Now we're moving on to our high pressure rinse. You can see we do have some beading on our paint. I normally will use a ceramic drying aid as I'm drying the vehicle, so there is some protection there that we need to strip off. So we're going to use Chevy, their super foam soap. It's a high alkaline soap that will help weaken and remove some of the protection that's on here. We're also going to do a quick chemical decon and clay towel treatment. I know this is going to do some damage to the paint, but not enough that I'm going to be worried about it. And we'll address that when it comes time to polishing the paint. Get everything rinsed off, dried off. Now let's check out our paint. And just as I suspected, this vehicle has been used hard the last couple of months as my husband has been using it for his business needs, and it has quite a bit of swirls and damage on it. So we're making good progress on our paint enhancement. We've gotten the roof, the hood, these 2 panels done, and you can see this is kind of where we're landing. We did have clay bar marring. You can see kind of these blue and red fine, weird kind of reflections in the light, and that is marring from our clay bar. Over here, this is where we've landed using our SPTA polisher, a white foam pad, and Optimum Hyper Polish. It's one of my favorites for this type of paint that really is super sensitive. If I were to come in, try to chase all these swirls and scratches, I would have to use either an orange or a yellow foam pad, medium polish. It would do a really nice job at correction, but I would definitely have to do a second step with the Optimum Hyper Polish or even Sonax Perfect Finish to try to remove the haze that would be left behind from the pad or the polish. So in this moment, because I've already polished twice before, because it's a truck, black sensitive paint, and we're going to use it as a truck, it's going to get more swirls and scratches in the future because we plan on keeping this for quite some time. Typically, if it is your own vehicle, you don't have to chase paint perfection. I know a lot of people will say you're locking in the condition of the paint, but ceramic coatings are not impervious to swirls and scratches. They are still going to pick up some light marring over the years. And so for me, in this moment, for the integrity of the clear coat, for the sake of time, we're not going to stress about having paint perfection. It really is up to you, but you can ceramic coat a vehicle without polishing it. I always tell customers it's always good just to do a basic quick paint enhancement. That way we've removed whatever protection is on here thoroughly. You can just bring back some gloss and shine and properly prep. So you don't have to go for paint perfection, but even just a quick paint enhancement, you can see what it's doing just to bring back a little bit more clarity on the paint. But personally, in this moment, I don't think that you necessarily have to chase paint perfection, but just know what you're getting into if that is your goal, especially on paint like this. You're definitely gonna have to have a two-step, I would say at least 4 or 5 hours of polishing work in, but a quick paint enhancement is definitely at least a good place to start. So here's what we're getting. What do you think?
It's a truck, it doesn't have to be perfect.
So, you know what? So obviously my husband is a little camera shy, but showing him the results that we're getting, needless to say, he's good with it. He's really happy. It's not 100%, and it doesn't have to be 100%. It really is up to the budget and what the customer is expecting. We do have one area of the vehicle that is a respray right down here. That was about 9 mils. We didn't know about that. Sometimes that can just happen in the factory. If there's like some sort of defect, they'll respray it and you may not even know about it. Doesn't mean it was in an accident, just means it was a respray. But we've got about 4 mils on a majority of this paint, but the back tail bed, it's about 3.2 mils. We did have some more severe scratches where he had leaned some fiberglass boards against it and it actually had created a lot of severe micro scratches. So we did a little bit of a heavier compound just on that section with F601 from Chevy, and then we finished up with our Optimum Hyper Polish. The rest of the vehicle though, we're making really good results, really good time using the Optimum Hyper Polish. You can see I'm using my SPTA battery powered polisher. Really enjoy that for paint enhancements, large vehicles where I just want to kind of get around it quickly. I don't have to deal with cords. It's not the most powerful polisher, but if you're just doing a quick paint enhancement, it will get the job done. So we're doing our panel prep wipe. We're just going to continue to make our way around the vehicle. We're going to start on the truck bed, the tailgate, and then work our way around the rest of the side. So we're on the second to last panel and can't ignore the elephant in the room. We've got a giant scratch right here on the driver's side panel. They pulled into the garage one day and the air compressor hose was kind of hanging down really low. He opened his door and it went right into the metal fitting and made a super deep scratch. I get asked a lot of times by customers, how do you know if a scratch can be polished out? And I just wanted to kind of pause and share with you guys how a detailer would approach something like this. Now, it depends on how much paint is on the vehicle to know how aggressive you can be. There are some detailers that would say you can wet sand this out, kind of take a 3,000 grit or even 2,000 grit wet sand, kind of tape off this area, and you want to kind of wet sand in this general direction to kind of go over the deep scratch. If you were to look at this under a microscope, you would actually kind of see almost like a pit in a valley of where the scratch is in the clear coat. And oftentimes when we are polishing, essentially what we're doing is we are shaving down those mountains and those ridges to kind of smooth it out. You can kind of blend it so it's not as noticeable. And a really good rule of thumb to know if a scratch can be polished out is if your fingernail catches on it, then chances are it can not be polished out. So if your fingernail doesn't catch on it, chances are it can be removed. Another rule of thumb, if you kind of spray it with liquid, and this is just a panel prep wipe, but you can hit water with it. If you spray it with water and it kind of disappears, then chances are, again, that it could be polished out. So because I'm seeing just a faint line of it here, that says to me that it probably will not be able to be polished out. I was able to kind of catch my fingernail on it before we started polishing it. So I only have about 3.2 mils of paint to work with right around this area that's getting really thin. And if I were to try to aggressively go after the scratch, and again, this is kind of on the outskirts where it possibly could be blended or polished out, but you're gonna be shaving off more mils of paint. A lot of times when they spray these panels, when you get into these wide open areas, they're gonna be a little bit heavier, but when you get to kind of some of these ridges, some of these kind of body curve lines, a lot of times that's where your paint is going to be the thinnest, just because of the way that it lays on the vehicle. You have to kind of think the way that a painter would think. So when I was doing my paint thickness gauge reading with my next PTG paint thickness reader, this is one of my favorites. This has saved me so many times from really being overly aggressive or knowing, okay, I have a little bit more room to play with. We can kind of attack some of these things. I have about 3.2 mils here, 3.8, 3.4, but these panels up here, they've got like 4 mils of paint. So I have a lot more paint to work with up here than I do right here. I know my husband definitely notices it. I might try to blend it a little bit, but again, you also have to understand the paint that you're working with. If I were to come in with a microfiber or a wool pad, which would more than likely remove or blend this a lot better, it's going to create severe micro marring that I'm going to have to polish again, removing more clear coat to kind of refine out. So you kind of have to know your limits, know how much work you want to get into, know how much paint you have to play with, and just kind of gauge it that way. So we might try to get maybe a little bit more of an aggressive foam pad versus microfiber wool, see how much of this we can blend so it's not as noticeable. But just wanted to kind of share with you guys, this is how a detailer would approach a deep scratch like this. You could wet sand it, and sometimes wet sanding is actually less aggressive than compounding and polish. There's been numerous tests done and explanations done to show that when you wet sand, you're actually removing less clear coat than if you were to kind of sit on it with a large bulky pad and compound and polish, because that's numerous times you're overheating the panel, kind of swelling the panel. So know your limits, know your comfort level, know how much paint you have to play with. So we'll see what we can do here to maybe blend this a little bit, but it's not going to be removed because my fingernail does unfortunately catch on it.
And this is just to show you what that scratch looks like under a magnifying lens. This was just a fun tool that I picked up a while back ago. My kids and I play around with it on different things in our house, but this really helps me be able to see just how deep the scratch is. The outer areas, it's not as bad, but here as we work our way into the middle, you can see we're really below the clear color and into the bare metal. So just another fun tool, but just a quick visualization for you, but just how deep some of these scratches can be. And just to give you some realistic expectations when it comes to scratch removal. So even though I cannot remove the scratch altogether, I at least want to try to blend it, make it less noticeable to the naked eye. So we're going to use Shine Supply Flat Top. This is a specialty compound that quickly removes defects on paint, especially severe defects. In about 2 passes, you've worked through all of the abrasives on this product. Now, it did leave a haze and some micro marring because this paint is so soft. So we're going to follow up with our polishing pad, Optimum Hyper Polish. And once we do our panel prep wipe, you can see that from the naked eye, you really cannot see the defect now on the paint unless you're really looking for it. And at this moment, I'm happy with that. My husband was actually really happy with it. He didn't think I would be able to remove the scratch. I didn't remove it, but at least we were able to blend it, make it less noticeable. So now that our vehicle has been fully polished, we've done our panel prep wipe, let's go ahead and apply our coating. The coating we're using today is McKee's 37, their brand new Graphene Pro Coat 2.0. Now, I've done videos on this in the past, so we're not going to go into too much length or detail into the application process, but I'm sharing this product specifically with you guys on my husband's vehicle because this actually has a up to 10-year durability claim. And although many people would be extremely skeptical, myself included sometimes, that a coating can last this long, I don't even know if I'm going to keep it on the vehicle this long because chances are I'm probably going to have to polish the truck before that 10-year mark even arrives. But I want to share with you guys real world durability updates for this product. So we're going to go through all of the motions of applying this product, and then we're going to be doing regular updates for you guys on this coating for us to see just how long this coating can last. A lot of it is going to come down to how you maintain the product. I don't honestly wash this truck a whole lot. When I do, it's a pain in the butt. So I wanted some sort of coating to make maintenance easier for myself, as well as just kind of give it that like new appearance every time I wash it. So that's the beauty of a quality ceramic coating. So hopefully you guys stay tuned for the updates on this product. So let's just continue to apply the coating, and then we'll show you the finished results. Because this coating is a rainbowing coating, which means that when it's ready for you to level, you're going to see actually kind of a rainbow effect from the transfer solution. I'm using my softbox light. That's made it very easy for me to see the coating, but the second time around using this product, I did run into a few issues. And so I'll explain to you guys in just a second kind of what I dealt with and how I worked through that. So we just got done with applying the Graphene Pro Coat 2.0 to the truck, and honestly, hopefully I never have to do that again. Good news is that this is actually claimed to be almost a lifetime coating, so hopefully I won't have to. There were some things that I had to work through with this coating this second time around using it, and honestly, I think a little bit of it, and probably most of it, was actually user error. And I want to just kind of share with you guys some of the things that I learned about this product, so maybe you can try to avoid them for yourself. I just want to be 100% transparent. First time I used this product was for the blue BMW we did a while back, and I will put the link to that video down below for those of you that want to check it out for yourself. That was my first time using it. Had absolutely no issues whatsoever with high spots, no grabbiness. It was a dream to work with. The second time around, it was a little bit of a different user application. Now this bottle had sat sealed inside, but when I was applying it this time around, can actually see I was using a dropper, but the dropper was too big. And so, because I was lazy, I wasn't sealing it up every single time. I took the topper on and off because honestly, I was just not wanting to deal with it. But I think what happened is that the coating was just exposed to air too long. It actually started to cure within the bottle, which it's gonna happen naturally, even if you have a different dropper or something like this. Coatings are gonna instantly start to cure within the bottle. So that's why they have a very short shelf life oftentimes once they're open. Most coatings unopened, you could let go for about a year if kept in a climate controlled environment. But once you open it, sometimes you have maybe a couple weeks, at maximum like 4 to 5 months to use up the rest of your product because it's gonna actually start to cure within this bottle. So each time you use it, it's gonna actually have a different user application because it might be a little grabbier, it might start to kind of flash quicker on you. And that's what happened for me with this coating. Now I was able to work around it. Did have a couple high spot issues that I had to work through, but it wasn't stressful, wasn't an issue. Was able to just kind of do a quick finger polish, wipe things off, reapply coating, was good to go. Hi kids, you want to go on in? Is it like a weird color sky right now?
Yeah.
It's like purple and red. Is the sunset pretty right now?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, just leave your bikes out. I'll call you when I'm done and we can put them away, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. So all in all, still really happy with the product. Just had to learn some things about this product so that moving forward, I can avoid them. And hopefully I'm sharing that with you so that way you can avoid those issues as well. But what I'm really excited is what comes next. We're gonna let this sit for 24 hours, pull it out into the daylight. Now, if I have any sort of high spots tomorrow, again, we'll polish, reapply our coating. We should be good to go. This is not the type of coating that I'm finding that in this current state, if I reapply it with fresh product, we should be able to remove the high spots. I think because it is a little bit more of a potent formula, you might have to kind of do a quick finger polish and buff off any sort of high spots, reapply coating, and be good to go. I found that with the original graphene coating, if I had any sort of high spots, maybe 24 hours later, I could potentially reapply fresh product, just buff off, and it would be fine. But again, some coatings, it really is going to speak more to the durability, and that's actually a good sign if you have a high spot that you actually have to polish off, because that means the coating is actually a really strong, durable product. So
I don't see that as a flaw or a con. It's just something that you might have to be aware of moving forward. But we're gonna let this sit for 24 hours and then it should be safe to dry. Ideally, if you are a detailer and your customer is wanting to pick up their vehicle, you wanna let it sit for probably at least 14, 15 hours before you release it out into really good weather conditions. But 7 days before you wanna wash it, put any sort of soaps, toppers on top of it. But I'm really excited and you're not going to wanna miss it. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell onto the side. Weather pending, we're gonna be able to show you guys what the hydrophobics are like on this coating. This is what I'm really intrigued by. This is why I'm doing my own vehicle as a test vehicle for you guys. For those of you that might be interested in trying this coating out for yourself, it intrigues me the fact that they're saying that it is a potential lifetime coating at minimum 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. A lot of this is going to be based on how you maintain your vehicle. If it's garage kept, if you are taking it through an automatic car wash, exposing it to high pH soaps, neglecting it, not maintaining it, all of those factors are going to really affect any coating, let alone this coating. But my husband really doesn't let me baby this truck. So this is going to be kind of an average daily driver, not necessarily a detailer babying vehicles. I'm really excited to see it. I don't know about you guys, but make sure you stay tuned, hit that notification bell off to the side and subscribe so that way you don't miss any updates that we have for this. So I'm gonna go inside, get ready for dinner. It's like the weirdest sunset right now. The sky looks like pink. It's really, really weird. But it's been just a weird start of the year. But Happy New Year. I hope you guys are happy, healthy. Put the link to all the products that we use to prep this vehicle down below. And for those that are still watching, here's the finished results.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to film my husband's reaction, but he was very happy with how well the truck turned out. And honestly, I was happy as well. Even though we didn't go for paint perfection with the polish step, it honestly, you can't tell. There's so much gloss and reflection with this coating that the vehicle looks better than the day we purchased it from the dealership.
And I just can't help myself. Let's see what the hydrophobics look like. Oh yeah. That looks really good. Look at those extremely tight beads. If I blow on it, you see the water instantly wanting to come off the panels. I think that'll do. I cannot wait for its first wash.
And although no one really likes to get a freshly detailed vehicle rained on, I was oddly enough very excited when it started to rain a few days later, because I was able to finally see what our hydrophobic properties are going to look like with this coating. Graphene coatings are known to kind of help reduce the risk of water spots. So even though this vehicle has been rained on and we've had all of those water spots dry, I haven't seen any water spots to date. So far it's looking great. We've got really nice tall beads. The vehicle cleans up nicely. It's actually been over a month since I coated it when I'm now editing this video, and the vehicle is just now starting to look like I need to wash it. So it's actually helped keep the vehicle cleaner, and I'm really excited for our first wash, which will hopefully be in the next few days. So make sure you guys stay tuned, but give us a thumbs up if you'd enjoyed this video.
We will see you in the very next detail. Have a wonderful rest of your day.